In the futuristic world of 2154, Earth is in a sorry state. It's packed with too many people, and pollution has taken over. Lots of new diseases are making folks sick, with half the population feeling under the weather. The once beautiful cities are now run-down slums. Society has split into two, the rich and powerful living the high life, and the poor struggling to get by. Now here's where it gets interesting. The wealthy folks didn't want to deal with the mess on Earth, so they built their own fancy living space in orbit called Elysium. It's like a dream city, with no sadness or sickness. Everything there is top-notch, especially this amazing thing called a med bay. These are like super advanced private medical rooms that can fix any disease or injury in the blink of an eye. Life on Elysium is like a fairy tale, but down on Earth, it's a whole different story. Robot police, without a speck of humanity, boss people around and use force in the name of some strict rules. It's a tough life for those stuck on the ground. In the beginning of the movie, there's this kid named Max da Costa and his buddy Frei Santiago. They're fascinated by stories about Elysium and its posh life. Max makes a big promise to Frei that they'll go there one day. But life's tough for Max. He grows up in an orphanage under the care of a nun he really cares about. His big dream? To step foot in Elysium someday. Fast forward several years, and things have changed. Max has taken a wrong turn and ended up in the world of crime. He's lost touch with Frei, and sadly, the nun who was like a mom to him is gone. Now, he's trying to leave his criminal past behind and works at Armadine, a place that makes weapons for Elysium and those robot cops. One day, on his way to work, those robot police give Max a hard time and mess up his wrist just because he's not following their orders. He heads to the hospital for help, and guess who's there? His old friend Frei, all grown up and working as a nurse. They catch up while she fixes him up. Max tries to ask her out, but she's got other patients to tend to before he can finish. The hospital's packed, which is pretty normal in a world where there are way too many people and diseases everywhere. Max heads to work, only to find out that he's getting a hefty pay cut for being late. The big boss at Armadine, John Carlyle, is an Elysium resident who's chilling on Earth to oversee the factories. But here's the thing. He's all about the company's profits and couldn't care less about the issues his workers face. Meanwhile, there's this shady character called Spider. He's got this illegal setup going on to help Earth folks sneak into Elysium. It's a risky deal though. Not everyone who tries makes it there safely. First, they need these special Elysium ID brands on their wrists, which basically open all the doors up there. Then, they hop on these 3 beat-up spaceships to head for the space station. But trouble brews as they get closer. Jessica Delacourt, the defense secretary up on Elysium, catches wind of the breach. She rings up Kruger, a rogue agent and her right-hand person on Earth. Kruger wastes no time and follows Jessica's orders, firing missiles at the ships. 2 of them get hit, but one lucky ship manages to dodge the missile. In a tragic turn, the 2 ships that got hit end up with 46 people losing their lives. Luckily, the last ship makes it to Elysium, but before the passengers can even think of running off, Jessica's guards swoop in to capture everyone. Police choppers and those unfriendly robots chase the folks from Earth, and they end up getting arrested. Among them, only a mother and her sick daughter manage to reach a med bay because of their identification bands. Miraculously, the med bay heals the daughter, making her able to walk properly again. But before they can celebrate, the heartless robot police arrest them. The ones who fight back sadly meet a terrible fate, while the rest are sent back to Earth. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Max is doing his job when he's asked to fix a jammed door, a seriously dangerous task. He goes in, but things go horribly wrong. The door locks, and he gets hit with lethal radiation. He's rescued later and rushed to a medical unit, only to be told by a robot that he's on a countdown. His organs are failing, and he's got a mere 5 days to live. Tough break. CEO John's priorities seem pretty misplaced when he visits Max. He's more bothered about the messed up bedding than Max's condition. A robot hands Max some pills to dull the pain and keep him going until his time runs out. Right after the messy incident, Jessica gets summoned by Patel, the big-shot president up on Elysium. Patel isn't a fan of Jessica's ruthless ways and isn't cool with the unnecessary loss of lives. But Jessica defends herself, saying she won't let the Earthers invade their future home, Elysium. Patel warns her though, threatening to give her the boot if she causes any more harm, and orders her to cut ties with Kruger ASAP. Back on Earth, Kruger gets the news that he's out of a job. He's told to return all his gear because Jessica doesn't want his services anymore. He's furious, and feels totally betrayed by Jessica. Meanwhile, Max's pal Julio spots him struggling after work and lends a hand. After helping Max with his meds, Max asks Julio to track down Spider. He's desperate now, really itching to get to Elysium pronto, and use that med bay to fix himself up. Max and Julio seek out Spider, hoping for a ticket to Elysium in return for a favor Max did for him a while back. But Spider's got a different plan in mind. He wants Max to dive into the mind of a bigwig up on Elysium and snag some super-secret codes and data. Spider's eyeing this official's bank account for a hefty payday. In exchange for pulling off this job, Spider promises to ensure Max's journey to Elysium and his much-needed treatment. With no other lifeline, Max reluctantly agrees. Here's the kicker. The high-ranking official Max has to hack into is none other than John, the guy who cared more about bedsheets than Max's well-being. Spider knows Max can't pull this off in his current state, so he does something drastic. He hooks Max up with a 3rd-gen powered exoskeleton and plugs a neural chip into his brain. This exoskeleton basically turns Max into a powerhouse, matching the strength of those police robots. It's a game-changer for sure. In the next intense scene, CEO John meets with Jessica, who's had enough of the president's ways. She wants John to hack into Elysium's computer core, boot out the president, and put her in charge. John agrees to the task and heads back to Earth to carry out the reboot, fulfilling Jessica's request. Crafty as ever, he also installs a system that would fatally reject anyone trying to download info from his brain. After setting things up, he hops on a shuttle bound for Elysium. However, before the shuttle can leave Earth, Max and his crew shoot it down. They locate John and are on the verge of extracting the needed info when a droid shows up, sparking a fierce shootout. In the chaos, John takes a hit. The team manages to overpower the droid, grabbing the vital intel from John's brain. Jessica gets wind of John's situation and dispatches Kruger to deal with the attackers. Kruger and his goons arrive, guns blazing. In the fierce firefight that follows, all of Max's teammates, including his close friend Julio, meet their end. Somehow, Max escapes the onslaught. Jessica, now on edge, realizes someone knows about her plot to oust the president. To tighten her grip, she jams all signals in the area, trapping any spaceships from leaving. The stakes are higher than ever. In the midst of this chaos, Kruger seizes the data snatched from John's brain and recognizes it as Jessica's covert program. Seeing the potential power it holds, he urges his crew to hunt for more, likely eyeing his own gain in the situation. Meanwhile, a badly injured Max seeks refuge with Frey, who takes him to her home and tends to his wounds. When Max wakes up the next day, he's startled to find a little girl in front of him. It's Frey's daughter, suffering from leukemia with very little time left. Frey implores Max to take them to Elysium for the girl's sake, but Max fears that the dangerous folks chasing him could bring harm to them if they're associated with him. Reluctantly, Max leaves, but it's not long before Kruger and his squad show up, tracking down Max's whereabouts. Discovering that Max was there the previous night, they seize Frey and her ailing daughter, holding them hostage in their pursuit of Max. Things just keep getting more and more intense. Max faces a major setback when he goes to Spider with the code he snatched from John's brain, only to discover that Jessica's jamming has shut down all airspaces. This means Spider can't hold up his end of the deal, and Max's chance of getting to Elysium seems to vanish. Frustrated, Max shares the code with Spider, who, to his amazement, realizes it's the key to resetting Elysium's entire system. Spider sees an opportunity to rewrite the codes, turning everyone into Elysium citizens and granting them access to the medbay. It could be a game-changer, eradicating diseases for good. Spider urges Max to be patient, saying the override might take 5 days. However, with only hours left to live, Max decides to play a different card. He plans to sell the data to Jessica in exchange for a shot at the medbay to save his own life. Realizing that Kruger needs him alive, Max takes a bold step and turns himself in. On board Kruger's ship, he's shocked to find Frey and her daughter as hostages. The tension escalates when Kruger informs Jessica about finding the code, prompting Jessica to lift the airspace restrictions, allowing Kruger's ship, with Frey, her daughter, and Max, to head to Elysium. Spider and his crew seize the chance to pursue Max, racing towards Elysium in their own spaceship, intending to use the code for the greater good of humanity. Inside Kruger's ship, things take a dark turn as Kruger mistreats Frey, sparking Max's fury. Their altercation quickly spirals into a full-blown shootout. In a heated moment, Max retaliates by hurling a grenade at Kruger, severely injuring him and causing the ship's controls to malfunction. The ship careens down, crashing into a lavish house on Elysium. Amidst the chaos, Jessica orders everyone aboard the crashed ship to be brought to her. Frey rushes her daughter out of the wreckage and seeks out a medbay in a nearby house. Desperate to save her daughter, she tries to use the medbay, but it fails as she lacks citizenship access. Guards eventually apprehend them and escort them to Jessica. Kruger's men manage to patch him up using a medbay, fixing the damage to his face. In a chilling turn of events, Jessica orders Max to undergo an extraction process that would fatally strip all information from his brain. To her, his life holds no value. As Jessica departs, Kruger's men snatch Frey and her daughter once again. The doctors prepare to execute the extraction procedure on Max, a move that would end his life. However, against all odds, Max manages to break free just in time. At the same time, Jessica berates Kruger for jeopardizing Elysium's citizens with his reckless actions. Enraged by her insults, Kruger stabs her in the neck, driven by his ambition to rewrite the code and claim the presidency for himself. His henchmen embark on a deadly mission to eliminate the politicians in the facility, while Kruger sets off to alter the code. Meanwhile, Spider and his crew land on Elysium, hot on Max's trail. They navigate the facility, determined to locate his whereabouts. In a crucial moment, Max spots Spider within the facility through a screen and contacts him, urging him to proceed with the plan to grant everyone Elysium citizenship, eliminating diseases from Earth. As he searches for Frey, he reunites with her and instructs her to reach the nearest medbay, asking her to wait until they reprogram everyone as Elysium citizens to heal her daughter. While navigating to reprogram the system, Max and Spider encounter Kruger. An intense brawl ensues between Max and Kruger, with Max initially overpowered. However, the tide shifts when Max manages to remove Kruger's neural chip, disabling his entire system. After a grueling struggle, Max emerges victorious, dismantling Kruger's control. Now focused on their goal, Max and Spider head to the mainframe to extract the code from Max's brain. In a heartbreaking realization, Max understands that the process of extracting the code will cost him his life. With time slipping away, he reaches out to Frey, ensuring her that he's kept the childhood promise they made. In a reflective moment, Max gazes at Earth, drawing a comparison to a locket given to Frey by their caretaker long ago. Emotions swirling, he knows what must be done. Stealing a final glance at the world below, he triggers the reboot of Elysium's system, sacrificing himself for the greater good. As the system resets, every human is recognized as a citizen. In the medbay, Frey's daughter experiences a miraculous recovery, her healing a testament to the profound change Max has set in motion. Meanwhile, numerous ships are dispatched to Earth, each carrying medbays, offering aid to those suffering from diseases and injuries. And with this movie comes to an end, thanks for tuning in, guys.